Everyone, myself Bismi P. Cherian, Assistant Professor at Suresh Ganviha University. Today I'm going to discuss about the anticoagulant drugs. Learning objective of this topic is this lesson will help the students to understand the mechanism of action and the uses of the anticoagulants, mainly the warfarin drug, anisindone, and the clopidogrel. So we are discussing here about these three drugs. Learning outcomes of this topic. After this lesson, students will be able to describe the SCR, mechanism of action, and the uses of the anticoagulant drugs, mainly the warfarin, anisindone, and the clopidogrel. So before moving to these anticoagulant drugs, we have to know that what is the blood coagulation. Okay. So blood coagulation is an important biochemical reaction that ensures the cessation of the blood loss from the damaged blood vessels. Okay, when the blood vessel get damaged, at that time, blood is removed from, or blood is released from the released from our body. So the blood coagulation, if this blood coagulation factor is not present in our body, okay, in our normal biochemical reaction, so what happens? The almost all the blood will lose from the body. So this blood coagulation is the process, or is an important biochemical reaction that ensures to stop the blood loss from the body when any damage or when any injury occurs to the blood vessel. Okay, so when the blood vessel get damaged, what happens? Blood will remove, or blood will release from that vein. Okay, so blood coagulation means making a clot. Okay, blood coagulation means making a clot over that injury, so the blood will stop to release from the vein. So the blood coagulation is an important biochemical reaction that ensure the cessation of the blood loss from the damaged blood vessel. So this process is very important process in our body. And coagulation is an important part of the hemostatic mechanism also. Okay, this coagulation is an important part of the hemostatic mechanism. Any disorder in the blood coagulation, okay, any disorder in the blood coagulation that results excessive hemorrhage or the clot formation. Okay, if the blood coagulation is more in our body, so what happens? Okay, at that time clot forms inside the vein or inside the artery. So that condition is known as thrombosis. Okay, or if any means if the blood coagulation is not occur or not form the clot inside the body, so what happens? Excessive blood loss happens, and that results in excessive hemorrhage. Okay, that results in excessive hemorrhage. So the blood coagulation is an important biochemical reaction that ensures to stop the blood loss from the damaged blood vessels. And the coagulation is an important part of the hemostatic mechanism. Okay, before studying this anticoagulant drug, we have to know what is the blood coagulation. Okay, and what kind of the disorder may occur if there is any disorder of this blood, means if there is any disorder of the blood coagulation happens, what kind of the disorder that will cause. Okay, if the blood clot or the blood coagulation is more, at that time there is chances of generating the thrombosis inside the vein or inside the artery, and that blocks the arterial vein or the vein. Okay, so and when this block the blood flow in the arterial vein, what happens? That related to the cardiac disorder. Okay, and if the disorder of the means second disorder is excessive, means not forming this coagulation. Okay, blood coagulation is not forming, that is again a disorder, and that leads to excessive hemorrhage, means excessive blood loss. So So we had seen, or we had discussed the coagulants drug in our previous class. Okay, coagulants and anticoagulants is there in your syllabus. So you have to learn what is the coagulant drugs and what is the anticoagulant drugs. So the coagulant drugs are those drugs that help in the blood coagulation. Okay, help in the blood coagulation are indicated in the hemorrhagic condition. Okay, if there is any blood loss or there is any hemorrhagic condition, at that time the doctors are prescribing this coagulant drugs, and the main drug is sorry the main drug is this menadone. Okay, menadione, and that is the vitamin K, analog of the vitamin K, menadione. Okay, so main drug is the menadione, and this is the analog of the vitamin K3, and this vitamin K3 is present inside our body, and that vitamin K3 is responsible for the blood coagulation. Okay, if there any changes in that, or if there is any changes in this vitamin K, okay, vitamin K deficiency is there in our body, so what happens, the coagulation not form, and there are chances to low means excessive hemorrhage. Okay, excessive hemorrhagic condition. So in the excessive hemorrhagic condition, the doctors are prescribing the coagulant drugs. So when we are using the anticoagulant drugs, so the anticoagulant drugs, the doctors are prescribing to those patients those are suffering from the cardiovascular diseases, mainly the if there any blockage in the arteries. Okay, so the blockage is due to the one condition is the hyperlipidemic condition. Okay, due to that the the arterial blood vessel can block, and the second condition is the clot forms inside the vein or inside the artery. That is again the condition or the disorder of mainly seen in the cardiovascular disease related patient. So the anticoagulants, any drug that when added to the blood that prevent the clotting. Okay, that prevent the to prevent the clotting, the doctors are prescribing this anticoagulant drugs. Okay, to prevent the clotting, doctors are prescribing this anticoagulant drug, and the anticoagulants achieve their effect by suppressing the synthesis of the function of various clotting factors. Okay, so there are various clotting factors are there, so anticoagulant drugs achieve their effect. Okay, or anticoagulant drugs prevent the clotting by suppressing the synthesis of various clotting factors. Okay, various clotting factor synthesis is suppressed by these anticoagulant drugs to achieve their effect. And factors that are normally present in the blood. So inside our in the blood, there are lots of clotting factors are there. So we had seen the clotting factor 2, factor 7, factor 9, and the factor 10. So these are the factors that are responsible for the clotting. And these anticoagulant drugs, they achieve their effect by suppressing the synthesis of these factors. Okay, when these factors synthesis is suppressed, what happens, the anticoagulants gets their achieved, or the clot can be prevented. So the anticoagulant drugs are those drugs that prevent the blood clotting. Okay, that those drugs that prevent the blood clotting is known as anticoagulant drug, and these anticoagulant drugs is anticoagulant drugs achieve their effect by suppressing the synthesis or the function of the various clotting factors that normally present in the blood. Anticoagulants are the medicines that help to prevent the blood clot. Okay, so we had seen that what is coagulant drugs and what is anticoagulant drugs. So anticoagulant drugs are medicines or the drugs that helps to prevent the blood clot. Okay, to preventing the blood clot, the doctors are prescribing the anticoagulant drugs. They are given to people at a high risk of getting clots. Okay, those patients, those are at high risk of the getting clots. To that patient, the doctors are prescribing these anticoagulant drugs to reduce their chances of developing serious conditions such as stroke and the heart attack. Okay, when this clot forms inside the arterial vein, what happens, there are chances to stroke and the heart attack. So to prevent the stroke or the heart attack, the doctors are prescribing these anticoagulant drugs. So those patients, those are suffering from the cardiac disorder, the doctors are prescribing to this anticoagulant drugs to that patient. Okay, and a blood clot is a seal created by the blood to stop bleeding from the wound, but this condition is beneficial to each and every person. Okay, so the blood clot is a seal. Okay, blood clot is a seal that is created by the blood. Okay, that seal is created by the blood to stop the bleeding, to stop the bleeding from the wound. If any wound is happen, on our on the hand, what happens, that blood releases from the vein. Okay, blood releases from the vein. If this clotting factor is not present inside our blood, so what happens, the blood no means blood loss happens. Okay, so when the blood loss happens, what happens, that is a dangerous condition. So this blood clot, okay, the blood clot is a seal. Okay, have you means everybody noticed that when if any wound is there, so what happens, there is white colored thin or hard layer is coming on the wound. Okay, so that is the that clot, or that clot is the seal. Okay, that is created by the blood itself, because all lots of the factors are that clotting factors are present inside the blood. So that factors seal. Okay, that factors make a seal over that wound. Okay, that stop the bleeding. Okay, so this is the main biochemical reaction that happens inside our body. Okay, so this clotting is necessary to inside the blood, because if the clotting doesn't happen, hemorrhagic conditions are can be generated. So that is again dangerous situation. So blood clot is a seal that created by the blood to stop the bleeding from the wound. Okay, so the anticoagulant drugs are those drugs that prevent the blood clot. Okay, so anticoagulant drugs are those drugs that prevent the blood clot. Okay, so the clot creation or generation inside the arterial vein, so that is known as thrombosis. So mainly these anticoagulant drugs are used to treat the thrombosis. Thrombosis is the condition where the clot is formed inside the vein. Okay, inside the vein, and there are chances to stroke and the heart attack. To prevent this stroke and the heart attack due to this clot, the doctors are prescribing these anticoagulant drugs. Okay, so anticoagulant drugs are those drugs that are used to prevent the blood clot. So, or we can say anticoagulants are drugs which increases the coagulation time. Okay, which increases the coagulation time. Okay, means decreases the clot formation. Okay, so the anticoagulant drugs are those drugs that increases the coagulation of the blood, or we can say they prevent the process of clotting. Okay, so the anticoagulant drugs are those drugs that increases the coagulation time, or we can say that prevent the process of the clotting. Okay, and the anticoagulants are usually administered to patient with acute myocardial infarction. Okay, so if any patient is suffering from the acute myocardial infarction, so the doctors are prescribing the anticoagulant drugs to that patient to treat this myocardial infarction. And to prevent and the treatment of the deep vein thrombosis. Okay, the thrombosis is the condition where the clot is formed inside the arterial vein. Okay, so to prevent the thrombosis condition, okay, deep vein thrombosis, or in the treatment of the deep vein thrombosis, the doctors are prescribing this anticoagulant drugs. Okay, so we can say anticoagulant drugs are those drugs that prevent or that increases the coagulation time. Okay, the anticoagulant drugs are those drugs that increases the coagulation time, or we can say that prevent the process of the clotting, is known as anticoagulant drugs. Okay, so let's see the anticoagulant continues to play a central role in the prevention of the stroke. Okay, so in the prevention of the stroke, this anticoagulant plays a vital role. Okay, unlike thrombolytics, anticoagulants do not degrade clot. Rather, they prevent thrombus formation and propagation by reduction of the fibrin formation. Okay, so these anticoagulant drugs, what they are doing, their thrombolytic drugs are also there. Okay, so thrombolytic drugs, they what they do, they degrade. Okay, they break the clotting inside the arterial vein. Okay, so that is the drug. The thrombolytics are those drugs that degrade the clotting. Okay, but this anticoagulant do not degrade the clotting. Okay, anticoagulant drugs that doesn't degrade the clot, but they prevent the thrombus formation, means clot formation. Anticoagulant drugs, they do not degrade the clot, but they prevent the thrombus formation. Okay, so and propagation of the reduction of the fibrin formation also. So the thrombolytic drugs are those drugs that degrade the clot. Okay, already the clot is formed inside the arterial wall, sorry, arterial vein. At that time, the doctors are giving these thrombolytics to degrade that clot. Okay, first, this is the important step to degrade that clot. Be, before degrading the clot, before degrading any formed clot, what is the benefit of giving these anticoagulant drugs? So, thrombolytic drugs are important to degrade this formed clot inside the vein. After that, the doctors are giving these anticoagulant drugs to not thrombus, to means that prevent the thrombus formation. Thrombus means the clot formation inside the vein. Okay, so anticoagulant drugs, they prevent the thrombus formation and also reduce the fibrin formation. So anticoagulants act on the different step of the intrinsic and extrinsic coagulation pathway. Okay, so anticoagulants act on different steps of intrinsic and the extrinsic coagulation pathway. Unfractionated heparin. Okay, unfractionated heparin, low molecular weight heparin, and heparinoids are parenteral anticoagulants of rapid onset that act by indirect inhibition of thrombin and factor XA via antithrombin. Okay, so unfractionated heparin. So heparin is the anticoagulant drug. So unfractionated heparin, low molecular weight heparin, and the heparinoids. Okay, so these are injectable or these are parenteral anticoagulant of rapid onset that act by. Okay, so this when we are giving this parenteral anticoagulant, so that is for onset of the for the rapid onset of the action. So how they works, they act by indirect inhibition of, okay, they act by indirect inhibition of the thrombin and the factor 10A. Okay, the factor 10A via antithrombin. Okay, so this is the function of or mechanism of heparin. So you have to know that heparin is the injectable anticoagulant drug. So here unfractionated heparin, low molecular weight heparin, and the heparinoids are parenteral anticoagulants. Sorry, these are the parenteral anticoagulants. Okay, and these parenteral anticoagulants are giving to get rapid onset of action, and these heparins, okay, these are act by the indirect inhibition of, thrombin and the factor 10A via antithrombin. Okay, so this is the main MCQ question that will be, there are chances to come. Which of the means tell name, write down the name of the injectable or the parenteral anticoagulant drug. So the heparin is the example. So next is warfarin. Okay, warfarin or the Coumadin. Okay, warfarin, the most commonly used oral vitamin K antagonist. Oral vitamin K antagonist. Okay, so warfarin is the most commonly used. So we had learned this vitamin K3. Okay, vitamin K3, and the another name of the vitamin K3 is menadione. Okay, menadione, or we can say vitamin K3. These are the coagulation, or these are the coagulant drugs. Coagulant drugs are the vitamin K or menadione. Okay, so this warfarin or the coumadin, okay, or the coumadin are most used oral vitamin K antagonist. If the vitamin K 3 is increases by taking the menadione tablet, so this warfarin is given to the patient to for this vitamin K antagonist purpose. Okay, so this inhibit the conversion of oxidized vitamin K epoxide into the reduced form vitamin K. Okay, so what is this warfarin do? Warfarin inhibit the conversion of, yeah, warfarin inhibit the conversion. It inhibit the conversion of oxidized vitamin K epoxide. Okay, oxidized vitamin K epoxide into reduced form. The reduced form is the vitamin K. So this conversion is inhibited. So it diminishes the potassium dependent gamma carboxylation of the clotting factor 2. Okay, when this conversion is reduced, when the vitamin K is reduced, what happens that what happens that diminishes or decrease the potassium dependent gamma carboxylation of the clotting factor 2. Okay, diminishes the potassium dependent gamma carboxylation of clotting factor 2, 7, 9 and 10. Okay, so we had seen the vitamin K, vitamin K or the menadione. What they do, they acting as a cofactor in the synthesis of the clotting factor 2, 7, 9 and the 10. Okay, 9 and the 10. So what when this vitamin K is decreases due to the decrease in the conversion of the oxidized vitamin K or epoxide into the vitamin K, what happens that decreases or that diminishes the potassium dependent gamma carboxylation of the clotting factor 2, 7, 9 and the 10, as well as the naturally occurring endogenous anticoagulant protein C and S. So, what is this warfarin do? Warfarin or coumadin is the most commonly used oral vitamin K antagonist. Okay, these are the commonly used oral vitamin K antagonists that inhibit the conversion of oxidized vitamin K epoxide into reduced form vitamin K. When the vitamin K is decreases, that decreases the potassium K dependent gamma carboxylation of clotting factor 2, 7, 9 and 10. And as well as the endogenous anticoagulant protein C and S also decreases. So this is the warfarin. So let's see first drug warfarin. So this is the structure of the warfarin. So there are 3 rings present in the warfarin structure. Okay, so this is the 6-member ring with 1 oxygen double bond O. Alcoholic group is present, and these 2 ring is connected with the CH2 CO CH3. Okay, CH CH2 CO CH3. So this is the structure of the warfarin. Okay, so 3 rings are present in the warfarin structure. Let's see the synthesis of this warfarin. So the warfarin synthesis is given in your syllabus. You have to learn the synthesis of the warfarin. So look at this: methyl ester of acetyl salicylic acid. Methyl ester. Okay, methyl ester of acetyl salicylic acid is this compound. Okay, this compound, and this is when this compound is reacted with sodium. So what happened? Okay, sodium chloride. What happens? This sodium is attached to the this forms a ring. Okay, this forms a ring. Okay, sodium is attached at this O position. Okay, and after that this is the sodium salt of the hydroxycoumarin. Okay, sodium salt of the hydroxycoumarin is this, and this is reacted with the hydrochloric acid. What we get? 4 hydroxy. Okay, NaCl is removed from here and this H comes here. Okay, NaCl is removed from here, this H comes here, so alcoholic group is formed here. So this is the 4-hydroxycoumarin. Okay, 4-hydroxycoumarin is reacted with the benzyl lactone. Okay, benzyl lactone. So this is the structure of the benzyl lactone. So we will get our warfarin here. So this is the structure of the warfarin. So look at this structure. This ring is this OH and the O double bond O is there in this structure. Okay. After that, look at this structure CH. Okay. CH. This CH. Okay. This CH is connected with this ring and all the structure remains same. So methyl ester of acetyl salicylic acid reacted with the sodium. So we will get the sodium salt of the hydroxycoumarin. So sodium salt of the hydroxycoumarin is reacted with the hydrochloric acid. We will get the 4-hydroxycoumarin after removing this. After the removal of the sodium chloride and H will goes here. So we'll get 4-hydroxycoumarin. This 4-hydroxycoumarin is reacted with the benzyl lactone. Okay, when this benzyl lactone, so look at this double bond will breaks after when these two get reacted. So we will get CH here. Okay, this card when this double bond is breaks from here. So what happens? This ring is attached to the carbon atom and this is already present in this benzyl lactone and C when this double bond breaks, CH2 comes here, CH2, COCST. So we will get our warfarin drug. Okay, so warfarin is the oral anticoagulant drugs, whereas the heparin is the parenteral or injectable anticoagulant. So look at this mechanism of action. Warfarin and the related vitamin K antagonist. Okay, warfarin and the related vitamin K antagonist block the function of the vitamin K. Okay, it blocks the function of the vitamin K epoxide reductase complex in the liver. Okay, so vitamin K epoxide reductase complex is the present in the liver, and that this function of the vitamin K epoxide reductase complex will be blocked with the help of this warfarin and the related vitamin K antagonist. Okay, that lead to the depletion of the reduced form of vitamin K. Okay, so the when this when this warfarin blocks this enzyme's function, that leads to synthesize or reduced form of the vitamin K, and that serves this vitamin K serves as a cofactor for the gamma carboxylation of the vitamin K dependent coagulation factors. Coagulation factors as 2, 7, 9 and 10. Okay, so what this warfarin do? Warfarin and the related vitamin K antagonist blocks the function of the vitamin K epoxide reductase complex in the liver, and that leads to the depletion of the reduced form of the vitamin K. Okay, and this vitamin K is responsible for the that is serves as the cofactor for the gamma carboxylation of the vitamin K dependent coagulation factors. This medication is used to treat the blood clot. Okay, so warfarin is used to treat the blood clot such as deep vein thrombosis. Okay, so in the treatment of the deep vein thrombosis, warfarin is given. Okay, and the pulmonary embolus also this warfarin is given, or to prevent the new clot from the new clot from forming in your body. So it also prevent the new clot formation. It also prevent the harmful blood clot that helps to reduce the risk of the stroke and the heart attack. So warfarin is used to prevent harmful blood clot. When this harmful blood clot doesn't form, that helps in reducing the risk of the stroke and the heart attack. So these are the uses of the warfarin. So let's see the mechanism of action once again. So this is the chart. So warfarin completely inhibit the vitamin K epoxide reductase complex. Okay, so that is in the liver. So warfarin completely inhibit the vitamin K epoxide reductase complex, which is essential enzyme which is essential enzyme for activating the vitamin K available in the body. Okay, so this enzyme is essential for activating the vitamin K available in the body, and that vitamin K is responsible for the gamma carboxylation of the cofactor of 279 and 10. And through this mechanism, warfarin can deplete take a functional vitamin K reverse and therefore reduce the synthesis of the active clotting factor. Okay, so when this vitamin K synthesis is reduced due to the reduction in that enzyme, okay, that leads to the that leads to the reduced synthesis of the cofactor. Okay, clotting cofactors in this are reduced. So look at this vitamin K epoxide. Okay, vitamin K epoxide is an essential enzyme that is necessary to release the vitamin K. So this vitamin K epoxide reductase enzyme. Okay, so this vitamin K epoxide is converted into the vitamin K, that is the reduced form. Okay, that is the reduced form. So for this conversion, one enzyme is necessary. So that is known as vitamin K epoxide reductase enzyme. Okay, so what this warfarin do? Warfarin inhibit this enzyme. When this enzyme inhibited, this reduced form of the vitamin K is not forms inside our body. So when this vitamin K is responsible for synthesis of the clotting factors. Okay, clotting factors, and this vitamin K is again can convert into the oxidative deactivation. Okay, so that is vitamin K, and this vitamin K is responsible for the synthesis of the clotting factor 2, 7, 9 and 10. Okay, when this conversion is blocked by this warfarin, what happens? The vitamin K concentration will get reduced inside the body. When this vitamin K concentration get reduced, so what happens? That inhibit the synthesis of the clotting factor 2, 7, 9 and 10. Okay, so this is the mechanism of action of the warfarin. Okay, so this chart will be very easy to learn. So vitamin K epoxide is converted into the reduced form of the vitamin K in the presence of the vitamin K epoxide reductase. So warfarin is the anticoagulant drug. Oral anticoagulant drug is the warfarin. Okay. So warfarin, what this warfarin do? Warfarin inhibit this vitamin K epoxide reductase. When this vitamin K epoxide reductase is inhibited, what happens? This conversion will doesn't happen. Okay, this conversion will blocks. Okay, or this doesn't happen. When this conversion doesn't happen, what is the condition? The low concentration of the vitamin K, and this vitamin K is responsible for synthesizing the clotting factor 2, 7, 9 and 10. Okay, so this is the mechanism of action of the warfarin. And we have already seen the uses of this warfarin. This warfarin is used for the prophylaxis for treating the venous thrombosis, pulmonary embolism, and the arterial fibrillation. Okay, so these are the uses of this warfarin. Let's see the second drug, anisindone. Okay, anisindone is the second drug. So in this anisindone, there are three ring structures present in the anisindone. Okay, three ring structure is present. Okay, benzene ring, 5-member ring, double bond O, benzene ring OCS3. Okay, so anisindone is a synthetic anticoagulant and an indene-dione derivative. Okay, so this anisindione. Okay, sorry, anisindione is the indene-dione derivatives. Okay, so this is and it is a synthetic anticoagulant. Okay, it is synthetic anticoagulant. So its anticoagulant action is mediated through the inhibition of the vitamin K mediated gamma carboxylation of the precursor protein that is critical in the formation of the active procoagulation factor 2, 7, 9 and 10. So as well as the CNS in the liver protein, anticoagulant protein CNS. So this Anisindone main mechanism of action is this inhibit the vitamin K mediated gamma carboxylation. Okay, they inhibit the vitamin K mediated gamma carboxylation of the precursor proteins that are critical in the formation of these factors. Okay, when this carboxylation is inhibited, so this cofactor doesn't form. So through this way, this anisindone will react inside the body. So let's see the mechanism of action. Anisindone interferes with the vitamin K dependent hepatic synthesis of active clotting factors by inhibiting the reduction of the vitamin K. So the majority of the mechanism of action is same in this category because they all reduce the vitamin K synthesis. Okay, so when this vitamin K synthesis is inhibited, what happens? The cofactor will not generate. So this is the synthesis. So anisindine interferes with the vitamin K dependent hepatic synthesis of active clotting factors by inhibiting the reduction of the vitamin K, and this leads to an inhibition of the gamma carboxylation of glutamic acid residues to gamma carboxyglutamic acid in clotting factors 2, 7, 9 and 10. Okay, when this vitamin K is reduced, what happens? When that inhibits the gamma carboxylation of the glutamic acid residues of gamma carboxyglutamic acid in the clotting factor 2, 7, 9 and 10. So anisindone exert their therapeutic action by reducing the prothrombin activity. Okay, prothrombin activity of the blood. So anisindone exerts their therapeutic action by reducing the prothrombin activity of the blood, and that inhibit the formation of the active procoagulation factor 2, 7, 9 and 10 as well as anticoagulant protein C and S in the liver by inhibiting the vitamin K dependent gamma carboxylation of the precursor protein. Okay, by inhibiting the vitamin K mediated gamma carboxylation of the precursor protein. And the uses of this anisindone, it is used for the prophylaxis and the treatment of the various thrombosis, and also in the treatment of the arterial fibrillation and the pulmonary embolism. So anisindone is indicated for the prophylaxis and the treatment of the venous thrombosis, and its extension, the treatment of the arterial fibrillation with embolization, and the prophylaxis and the treatment of the pulmonary embolism, and as an the adjunct in the treatment of the coronary occlusion. So anisindone is indicated in the treatment of prophylaxis and the treatment of the venous thrombosis. Next drug is clopidogrel. Okay, so the clopidogrel structure is this: chloride atom is there, benzene, okay, carbon atom, carbon, double bond O, OCS3, then this ring is there. Let's see the mechanism of action. The active metabolite of the clopidogrel. Okay, the active metabolite of the clopidogrel selectively inhibit the binding of the adenosine diphosphate ADP. Okay, inhibit the binding of adenosine diphosphate to its platelet P2Y12. Okay, receptor. So what is the mechanism of action of the clopidogrel? The active metabolite of the clopidogrel selectively inhibit the binding of the adenosine diphosphate, binding of the ADP to its platelet P2Y12 receptors. Okay, so it inhibits the binding of ADP to its platelets receptor, and subsequently ADP mediated activation of the glycoprotein complex, thereby inhibit the platelet aggregation, and this action is irreversible. Okay, so this action is when the platelet aggregation is inhibited, and this action is irreversible, means inhibit the binding of adenosine diphosphate or ADP into the platelet P2Y12 receptors. and subsequent ADP mediated activation of the glycoprotein GP2B and 3-AGP3A complex. Okay, so thereby inhibiting the platelet aggregation, and this process is irreversible. Sorry. Clopidogrel metabolized to its active form by carboxyl esterase 1. So clopidogrel is metabolized to its active form by carboxyl esterase 1. The active form is the platelet inhibitor. Sorry. So the active form of this clopidogrel is platelet inhibitor that irreversibly bind to the P2Y12 ADP receptors on the platelets. Okay, so that binds with the P2Y2 ADP receptor on the platelets, and this binding prevents ADP to bind to this P2Y12 receptor. Okay, so P2Y12 is the receptor where this ADP binds, but this active metabolite of the clopidogrel of the clopidogrel bind with the P2Y2 receptor, Y12 receptor. When this drug binds with that receptor, ADP doesn't get space to bind with this receptor, and that binding, the active metabolite of this clopidogrel binds with that P2Y12 receptor. That is irreversible process. Activation of the glycoprotein GP2B and the 3A complex and the platelet aggregation. So ADP binding to this that is responsible for the platelet aggregation. When this ADP doesn't bind with that receptor, the platelet aggregation doesn't happen. Okay, so this is the mechanism of action of the clopidogrel. Okay, the active metabolite of the clopidogrel selectively inhibit the binding of the adenosine diphosphate ADP to its platelet receptor, and the subsequent ADP mediated activation of the glycoprotein GP2B and 3A complex, thereby inhibiting the platelet aggregation. So this is the thing. ADP, normal function ADP binds with the P2Y2 Y12 receptors, and that form that form the platelet aggregation. But this clopidogrel, active metabolite of the clopidogrel, bind with that receptor and block the binding of this ADP to the P2Y2 receptor. Sorry, when this drug binds or the active metabolite binds with that receptor, that doesn't form the platelet aggregation. So this is all about the anticoagulant drugs. Okay, so these are the anticoagulant drugs. Let's see the uses of this clopidogrel. Clopidogrel is indicated to reduce the risk of the myocardial infarction for the patient with the non-ST elevated acute coronary syndrome, patient with ST elevated myocardial infarction, and in the recent myocardial infarction, stroke, and the established peripheral arterial disease. Or we can easily say this drug is used for decreasing the atherosclerotic events, MI, stroke, and the vascular death. MI means myocardial infarction. So this is all about. Let's see some MCQs of this topic. So anisodione. Okay, anisodione. Anisindione is used for venous thrombosis, arterial fibrillation, pulmonary embolism, all of the above. So the correct answer is all of the above. Next is mechanism of action of the warfarin is inhibit the vitamin K epoxide, increase the vitamin K epoxide, no effect on the vitamin K epoxide, none. So this warfarin's mechanism is that inhibit the vitamin K epoxide enzyme, and that enzyme is responsible for the conversion of vitamin K epoxide to the reduced form of the vitamin K. Okay, so this correct answer is inhibit the vitamin K epoxide enzyme. How many rings are there in the warfarin structure? So we had seen that there are 3 rings present in the warfarin structure. Anticoagulant drugs are used to, first option is increase the coagulation time, decrease the coagulation time, both and none. So and the anticoagulant drugs are used to increase the coagulation time. Next is the most commonly used oral vitamin K antagonist is, correct answer is warfarin. Okay, so warfarin is the oral vitamin K antagonist. Okay, oral vitamin K antagonist, or warfarin we can say oral anticoagulant. Warfarin is the oral anticoagulant drug, whereas the heparin is the injectable anticoagulant. Heparin is given parenteral route. Okay, so heparin is the injectable anticoagulant, whereas the warfarin is the oral anticoagulant drugs. So this is all about anticoagulant drugs. I hope everybody understood it very well. So thank you.